What's happening, financial coaches? It's Pete here. Wanted to respond to a question about a case where a financial coach is working with a client, and the client is what the coach thinks is underspending. So they aren't spending very much money at all. Obviously, taking care of their needs, but maybe only spending within their needs and not spending very much. And a lot of people have weighed in on this, and this coach has gotten a lot of other feedback from other people, including a lot of other financial coaches. And a lot of people, I think, are trying to connect dots that aren't particularly there. They might be, but just because you look at someone's budget and they're making a certain amount of money and they are spending a very, very small portion of it, and they aren't spending it on things that you would say, hey, your entertainment, your travel, you're eating out, going to a movie, whatever, buying a bottle of wine. I've had these people before. I have people like this in my own family, people who are retired now, and I will tell you what, there is nothing wrong or abnormal about it. What is probably abnormal is how we think of spending money. There are people that are just programmed that the things that I have to buy with my money are just tools. Everything from the car to the food that I put in my body. There is a company called Soylent that was built by a guy who said, I just want to develop a drink that has the protein, the nutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, the water, the calcium, everything that I need in a drink, because I just don't care what I eat. Going out to have a meal and sitting down to some sort of culinary creation just adds no value to me. All I want to do is put the food in my body. I do it through an IV if I could. So there's a company built on this. There is a company that has flourished because of this, that millions of people subscribe to Soylent. I've tried it. It is like drinking pancake batter. That's what it tastes like. It fills you up. It gives you what you need, I guess. Just like babies drink mother's milk. They're not drinking it for taste. It is just because they are hungry and they are bringing stuff in. They are not enjoying that process in any way. And there are people that are just wired like that. So whether it is the car they drive, the clothes they put on, they just do not care. And there is nothing wrong with that. You do not have to get people to spend money to try in some way to equate that to improving their self-worth. Because people don't spend money does not mean that they don't value themselves. It means that they don't value what the money is being spent on. If they don't want to go on vacation, if they don't want to go to Disney World, if they don't want a big screen TV, if they don't want fancy clothes, if they do not want name brand cookware in their house, it's because they just don't care. And I bet there are a million things that you just don't care about. Instead of fancy rubber bands, would you be okay with just the Staple brand rubber bands or the Costco brand rubber bands? Do you buy anything that's stamped Kirkland on it? Because you don't care if they're brawny paper towels. You don't care if this is the quicker picker-upper or this is Windex's generic cousin, right? There are a million things that you just don't care about because it is just a tool and a means to an end for you. But there are some people who care less about a lot of things, and in some cases just don't care about the material things. It's about them sitting down and having a drink at the end of the day and looking out their window or whatever it might be. In fact, as I said, I have people in my family like this. I have, my father and I were financial planners. He started in financial planning a long, long time ago and retired from it a long time ago as well. But for a few years, we were working together. And I remember working with a gentleman who was making a decent salary as an engineer at an automaker and was saving something like 98% of his salary. 2% of his salary was going because he bought his house in cash. He bought his car. His cars were paid for by his employer. The clothes he got were either thrift stores or hand-me-downs, clothes that he would inherit from his brother. They grew their own food on their own property. I mean, everything from having hens laying eggs to they would kill their own goose at Thanksgiving and Christmas. So they just did not have the expenses. They had invested, you could say, into a production of all of their key necessities. They had a well for water. They didn't have landscaping or anything like this, right? I mean, just a very, very low footprint. And what ends up happening is that they have a ton of money in retirement. A ton of money in retirement. When your savings rate is 95% of your salary, I don't care how much you are making, but you can accumulate a lot of wealth doing that, right? So you might say like, well, maybe a little less wealth and you could do it. But these people don't even want to spend the money. They're totally happy. It's not like they feel like they have sacrificed anything. So just because someone is not overspending, and I remember one of my very first financial coaching clients was kind of like this. We went through her budget to see, she wanted to know what she could cut out. We looked. She had what I would say was $7 a month in entertainment expenses. Everything else was bare bones minimum necessary. From her car insurance to, the gas that she put in her car to her heating bill and all this other stuff. The only thing that she would occasionally do is buy herself a bottle of wine each month to have wine with dinner sometimes, or wine watching a movie sometimes. No cable, no DVDs, no Blockbuster memberships, none of that. So who am I to say that maybe you should spend $14 a month? If she's totally happy spending $7 a month, that's totally fine. I think it's the key here is not to say, hey, could you do something else? Should you do something else? But, what do they want to do? As a financial coach, what I'm trying to do is make your dreams a reality. And if your dreams are a reality now, and your retirement dreams are going to be a reality because of how you're living now, then why do you need to change? Now, I've also been in situations where people are underspending. They feel like they want more. They want to go out to dinner. They want to have friends. They want to date, whatever. And so maybe that their entertainment budget line item needs to be a little larger. That's definitely a possibility too. But just because someone is underspending compared to the average, compared to their peers, compared to us, again, let's not project our values on people and say that can be right. And as long as they don't feel like they are sacrificing or giving up something, or they feel wrong about it or whatever, as long as if they feel like maybe they're overspending and you think they're underspending, well, if they feel like they're overspending, that's what you actually have to tackle. That's what you need to do, is you need to say, listen, where would you feel comfortable? Because that's their goal, to make themselves feel comfortable, and you can help them, reach that. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because it's not a super common situation that people are spending way less than we feel like they should. I feel like we expect to go into conversations and have to talk people into cutting expenses. But in the odd situation where I've had it several times, seen it several times, worked with people in different capacities several times with this, it's not necessarily a problem for them. And also flash back to generations ago, this kind of mindset was the norm. I think really in the last 30, 40 years, consumerism since the 80s has really, really taken off. It's kind of been an Americana thing. And in many ways, I think we're trying to undo it. And yet when we see people who have stayed immune to it from a societal standpoint, we think of them as weird. So anyway, hopefully that is not something that you have to struggle with personally, but I just want to throw that out there, so hopefully it can help. All right, see you later.